Hi guys, I'm going to show you on the board real quick how to achieve your triangular arrangement using floral foam. And then I'll demonstrate it for you. Today, all of us have these containers. They're called design dishes. They have these pegs that are meant to hold your foam in place. You were given half a block of floral foam to soak. This is what it should look like now. We're going to place that directly into the pegs, make sure it's all the way down and anchored in, and then we'll cut it to shape and start designing. So this is my example of that design dish container. In your flower kit, you should have these pieces. You should have 5 carnations, 3 of what we call green mist. You're gonna have 3 stems at least of white wax flower, and then 4 to 5 or more leather fern, just depending on what you got. We're gonna use all those pieces to create a triangle shape. I'm gonna demonstrate an equilateral triangle, much like a structured pyramid. That's what I like. But whatever triangle you want to create, isosceles, a right angle, any version of that is fine as long as we're achieving a triangular shape. This is going to be a one-sided arrangement though. A 3D triangle is way too advanced and I also don't have enough supplies for you to achieve that. So when you are anchoring in, you just want to pick your side that you're going to work with and imagine that you're shoving this up against a wall and you're only working from this one side as you see fit. All right. So our first step today was to add that brick of foam directly into the pegs. It is a little tall. We are going to need to trim it. So what I would like you to do is take 2 fingers, and from where you place this in your container, we're going to rest those 2 fingers on the edge of the container. Right here at the top of my fingers is where we're going to cut it this way. So I want 2 fingers above the edge of the container as our height of foam. So you'll kind of take 2 fingers and you'll cut right through there. All right. The next thing you're gonna do is start to place your flowers. Our main flowers today are the carnations and the green mist, but you have more carnations. So we're gonna use these guys to set the border of our shape of the triangle. So remember, I have chosen to do equilateral. You can choose whichever shape you want, but I want you to take the carnations, and you know when you're coloring how you go around the border first and then you color? The carnations are setting our border. So that means they're going to be my tallest and my widest points. So I'm going to place my triangle right about there, and then I'm gonna come out a little bit right there. So I'm gonna use 3 to do that. I've still got 2 extra, so I'm gonna complete the shape up here. So those are my carnation. The green mist is still a main flower, so we're gonna use it to emphasize the shape. So I'm gonna use my green mist to emphasize. They are a little bit bigger, they're a little bit rounder, more of a mass flower. So I'm going to space them out to create that shape. Then we've got our greenery and our filler flower. What I would like to do is set my baseline so I know how low I'm going, which is going to be with my greenery. I'm gonna do that first, and then I'm going to use wax flower and the remaining pieces of my leather fern to be my filler today. When you have a piece of leather fern, it has all these leaflets. We are literally going to piece them apart, create a pile of them. We're gonna be using these individually in the arrangement. We are not gonna cut the stem and shove it in. This is way too big. So you've got a lot to work with when you think about how many pieces of this stuff you have. So go ahead and start to separate those. We're gonna place some, remember we're doing a one-sided arrangement and we have to do proper use of foam, which means we're gonna camouflage it. So right now I can still see that foam 2 fingers above the container. I'm gonna put some of these, but I'm gonna angle them down to cover up the foam. And then I also want to set my border, so I need to come out as far out as I've made my widest points so that I can anchor. I'm trying to create kind of like my baseline. Then I just need to fill in the gaps, and I'm gonna do that 2 ways. The wax flower also has lots of pieces, lots of little branches that have these white flowers on them. I'm gonna piece them out just like I did my leather fern, but then I also should have some extra of this. I'm going to literally confetti in between everything with both things, okay? Just remember, naked stem going into the foam. Really what I'm looking for is I don't want to see through the piece. So some of you may opt to take some longer pieces of leather fern stems and actually insert them in the back, straight down into the foam, so you've created a wall. A lot of people will put this arrangement up against a wall or up against a cabinet. So I don't always like to do that because I feel like it's really heavy, but it's really personal choice. And if you've got a lot of pieces, then you could do that. So just remember, we're trying to create a triangle shape with the flowers. We don't want to see through it, so we want to fill in the space. And we really want to cover up the foam and not see that as well. Those are your main pieces of information. Proper use of foam is just making sure that you are camouflaging it and that it is also stable. Remember, once you poke, you can't take it back. So I always like to hold before I push into it and really adjust. You're gonna have to place stuff at angles a lot to get the triangle shape. It's not all gonna be straight down. And then once you're happy with it, then insert it into the foam. You don't really need to go any deeper into the foam other than a 1/2 inch. Maybe an inch with like your carnations and your green mist, your heavier, thicker stems. But leather fern and waxflower barely need to be poked in at all. So really up to you, but let's go ahead and turn the table around and we'll get started on making the flower arrangement together. All right, you guys, this is a look at our completed triangular arrangement. Remember, I was going for equilateral. You're more than welcome to do right or isosceles. I did do a couple no-nos. I did pull some stuff out of the foam to reposition it. My forward pitch was a little too much. And I also decided that I wanted to intermix the white and the green. I told you ahead of time to use all your carnations to create the triangle, but I just felt like my wax flower, either I didn't have enough or the blooms aren't as open, so I'm not seeing as much white from them. So it became very white heavy at the top. And so I just interchanged these two to kind of spread that out. So up to you how you want to accomplish it. But I've got my shape, I have balance, and I have covered up my foam. Remember, this is a one-sided arrangement, so I'll flip it around. The back is completely bare, and we're working from there. So one tip that I want to share with you before we wrap up is about how to make this guy last. We don't have water in a vase, we now have wet floral foam. So this foam can be rehydrated. You can take water and add to it. My suggestion is every other to every 3 days. The foam and these flowers are not super absorbent. And so the easiest way to do it is to flip it around to the back, and you've got some room here, and you're just gonna add water to the dish. Don't even worry about getting it on the foam, and just fill it up as much as you can and let it sit. And within 5 to 10 minutes, you should see all of that absorb into the foam, and you're good to go. If you keep up with it, this arrangement should last upwards of 2 weeks. All right, I hope you have fun. I ran out of supplies and did not take photos of individual pieces before I had created all your bundles. So instead of individual prices listed, this picture slide is here for you. And I'm also attaching it in your assignment post to look at as you need.